Join us as we explore some of New York's greatest and most cutting-edge architectural projects.
New York architecture is world-renowned. In this series, we highlight and celebrate that magnificent work.
Welcome to New York by Design Architecture.
We've gathered a diverse group of design industry leaders at 277 Fifth Avenue Panoramic Penthouse in the Sky to judge which architectural projects will go through to the final to ultimately be crowned this season's winner.
Really esteemed panel of judges from a really diverse set of backgrounds. You have real hardcore architects that are practicing at a global scale.
There are people who sell windows and people who sell porcelain, and then what I do, I'm a style director.
But also by having industrial designers and material suppliers, I think we're able to add an informed view, which is a little bit different from the view of an architect and designer.
Let's get started with our first project.
121 East 22nd is an amazing project, not just because of the views that it allows, but the amazing way in which it brought glass together to enable those views.
The architecture, especially the facade, and I think that the use of the corner kind of like a prism was incredible.
I loved the formality of the horizontal lines on that black glass, then suddenly broken into random facets on the corner.
And then the interiors have exactly the high standard that the exterior has.
From the inside, it is really opening up to a very nice city scenery, basically from every angle.
.121 East 22nd is a residential condo building in Gramercy Park. It's both part of the city, but also not afraid to be different. You've got this great model in the lobby of the building that really describes the unique site conditions of this building, Shell. But talk to us about how you devised the massing or the volume of this building.
The site itself is very interesting because it's an L-shaped site that faces the corner of 23rd Street and Lexington. Both are quite busy, but very different in its character. But also, there was a challenge. We had to deal with two zoning districts. One is taller, as you can see on the north side, and one is lower and more contextual on the south side.
Right. And then once you come into the building, you come to this great courtyard oasis that's hidden from the street.
Well, this building acts as an entrance to the whole complex that is protected from the busyness of the surrounding. So this really represents the convergence of two different neighborhoods that this site sits in.
So I see what you mean here. 23rd Street is really unique as compared to Lexington. And here, the convergence.
Exactly. And we really wanted to represent this through the design. You can see different reflections of sky, streets, and the buildings around through this prismatic corner. As you can see, people really look up to the building, realize that something special is happening.
So cool, I love it. Show, it's great you got us into one of these penthouse apartments. I love what this corner from the faceting outside does for the interior experience here.
You really feel the potential of this corner, really having a panoramic view of Manhattan. And what this facet does, as you can see, is also framing those panoramic view, highlighting the skyline of Midtown.
Really connects you to the city. I feel like I can reach out and touch those buildings. Adam, I heard you're a real fan of Rem Koolhaas, who founded OMA. What was it like working with them?
I am a bit of a fanboy, it's true. And it was a real honor to work with them. I mean, he's one of my heroes. Every studio has its tricks, and one of the things that is part of that, the culture of that studio, is this idea of color blocking, creating difference just through a change of color or material. So here we emphasize the vertical proportion, marking the cooking suite in black, and then suppress the pantries on the side, making them match the walls in white. So this detail specifically was drawn directly from the facade, and even the color, the black color, was inspired by the facade, so that the inside and the outside speak to each other.
And here, a bathroom that's actually on the exterior wall with the bathtub on the window.
You know, we New Yorkers were starved for natural light, as you can imagine. Then we just went all in and did the tub right in front of the window.
Yeah, you get out of that tub and hello, New York.
Yeah, exhibitionists welcome.
Awesome. What about this material? What is it?
So it's an Italian marble. It's called Arabescata. It's from Stone Source, which is a local supplier. We love beautiful things, but we're also very practical. So this little detail joins the two slabs, but then lifts up with a lip to keep water from spilling over the edge.
That makes a ton of sense. I see you did it over here on the sink as well.
Yeah, we got a little obsessed with the abstract quality of this and wanting the wood to come up, not have the counter go over it. As you can see, the counter is suppressed, and then this little lip again protects the wood on the inside.
Nice. This wood is a beautiful color, and it really works well with that. What is that on the wall?
It's actually a cementitious plaster. It's this product called Semco. It's actually the first time it's been used in the New York market. And what's amazing about it, it was invented to line the inside of the Las Vegas fountains. Vegas, and it has a 50-year warranty. And the remarkable thing is you can use it for a wall finish, right? Normal wall finish, but you can also use it as a wet finish.
That's cool. I need this for my shower. So this stair connects the ground floor lobby to these upper floor amenities, right?
Yeah, and it's really nice how Shohei got the stair to spiral around the courtyard, bringing natural light into the entrance and into the amenities.
And this light stone really helps lighten it up.
Yeah, and that's a white travertine that just glows when the sun hits it.
And what's this? It looks like some kind of sculpture.
It is. It's sort of sculpture / furniture. It was designed actually by Rem Koolhaas himself, and it's designed to be movable. And it comes in 3 basic colors, and we picked, actually had a custom color made to match the room.
But you can sit on it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's made for sitting.
So tell me more about the amenities in the building that are available to all the residents.
Yeah, there's a really robust amenity program. There's a pool, a gym, a dining room, a performance kitchen, a library, a kids room, and even the red cinema.
I saw that red room. Very Rem.
Very Rem, it's true.
Up close, you really feel the geometry. There's a pretty amazing lean to this.
Yeah, you can see this one that is leaning, and which is also a very unique experience when you are inside, really looking down to the streets. As an architect, it's a dream to be able to design a building in Manhattan. And in order to do that, we have to really embrace the history and the context, but also really projecting something for the future.
Buildings of New York are like the people of this great city. Some are happy to just, well, go about their lives. Others are full of personality, and they just stand out.
Let's continue to look at the big ideas behind New York design.
The next project is the Gravesend Brooklyn house, and what I really appreciated is how understated it is, but there's definitely design.
And they took 2 lots and yet managed to do a house that doesn't look out of scale in the neighborhood.
So I just thought that the use of space and the hidden space and what was going on in there was really cool.
This single-family detached housing is typical of this area of Brooklyn. But when you have the opportunity to acquire 2 of these lots, that's when the magic happens. So Andrew, when I first walked up, I thought Frank Lloyd Wright.
We get that a lot, but you have to keep in mind Frank Lloyd Wright was heavily inspired by Asian design.
Yeah, I see all these horizontal lines here and they're kind of juxtaposed against the vertical nature of the building. So you had 2 lots to play with here. What were you going to do with all that extra space?
Well, it was important to the owners that we preserve some of that outdoor space. It was also important to the owners that the house fit into the neighborhood context.
So Andrew, who are the owners of this house?
So the owners are a young family, and he happens to be a real estate developer.
Okay, so he's out there building projects like this all day long. He must have been an easy client to work with.
He was a great client. I think that this project was pivotal for him. This was when he learned intimately about how materials and light and design all come together.
Well, you know, I see that consistency everywhere I look. So Andrew, tell me about this lighting fixture here. I love how the length of it almost matches the length of this live edge table.
Well, for the scale and volume of this space, we really needed a fixture that would fill it. We looked to David Weeks for that fixture.
Beautiful. Yeah, and this table that you have here, again, it picks up on that Asian influence you were talking about earlier.
So this is a 2-inch thick, 15-foot long black walnut slab that we had crafted to be the dining table.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing here is that not only did you design the structure of this building itself, but you've thought about every detail within it.
I'm an architect, but the difference or the division between architecture and interior design, I think, is inseparable. The architecture informs the interiors. So as an architect practicing in New York City, we don't get too many opportunities to design stairways. For this project, we threw everything at it.
Yeah, I'm looking at this wall covering here. I love the contrast between this fabric and this heavy steel here.
This is a textured wall covering from Philip Jeffries, and we used it to act like a ribbon to join the first floor up to the third floor.
Now I'm looking at this carpeting here too. It's actually flush with the risers of this staircase. You know, Mies van der Rohe once said, God is in the detail.
Scott, I think you're really gonna like this. This is a pretty intensively designed space right here. It involved upholsterers, cabinetry makers, and rough carpenters. Pull that hardware right there, and you'll see a detail that we worked on.
Ooh, see, now that's the kind of aha detail that really puts a smile on my face.
Another one of my favorite rooms is the master bath. In that space, we selected a rich palette of stones, tiles, wood, that really create a moody spa-like experience. The office is also another one of my favorites. In that room, we used charred wood to create a really warm, inviting space.
So Andrew, here we see some charred wood again, just like we saw upstairs in the study.
Yeah, the repetition of certain ideas, the charred wood being inside and also outside, this horizontal nature of louvers and screens, all of that repetition builds to support a bigger idea of the architecture.
Yeah, it's that consistency, whether you're consciously aware of it or subconsciously aware of it. It's there, and it's the power of good design.
In this series, we're introducing 3 new awards. The Air, Light, and View Award, sponsored by Marvin, celebrates the best use of windows to elevate design and promote well-being. The Interior Design Award, sponsored by Stone Source, honors one interior space that stands above the rest. And the Exterior Design Award, sponsored by Porcelanosa, will be presented to one project with exceptional exterior design. Winners will be announced in the final episode.
The judges get very passionate about some of the projects that they feel drawn to.
It did give me other ways to look at the projects. You know, I think we did have some conversations about sustainability and also how the projects fit into the greater social context.
The whole point is to expand the discourse that's happening out in the world right now. So it's not about agreeing, it's about asking questions.
The TWA building is designed by one of my favorite architects of all time, Eero Saarinen.
It's for the public, anyone can visit it. It's super amazing. They completely revamped an airport. And the funny thing is who wants to go to an airport hotel? Here, you want to go to an airport hotel.
I mean, can you imagine going to stay in an airport hotel? That's a place you get stuck. But this one, you'd be lucky. You'd be lucky to have your flight canceled.
At the heart of New York City's JFK Airport lies one of the city's most beloved landmarks, Eero Saarinen's 1962 TWA terminal, which has been restored to find a new life as a first-class hotel. What an amazing building and what an incredible project. I can only imagine the complications and the complexities in making this happen.
It was really such an amazing opportunity. You know, as a native New Yorker, it really was the commission of a lifetime to be able to work with such a spectacular building. I think of it as one of the sexiest buildings on the planet. And it was designed by Eero Saarinen, opened in 1962. TWA at the time was iconic in its representation of the kind of energy that was in the United States at the time. It was really just this era of hope. And here, where we're standing, was the tarmac. But you would go out these beautiful flight tubes on either side out to your plane. In 1991, the building was obsolete. Air travel had changed very much. So here we are at the front door of the TWA Hotel, which in 1962 would have been the TWA Flight Center. They call this the bird, and you can see the beak and the two wing spans, the building really encompassing the energy of flight.
And the glass, I understand, is also very special, right? Because of the acoustic challenges in the building?
Absolutely. The glass sandwich, it's actually 7 layers of glass to offset the noise. And I believe it's the second heaviest wall in the world right now.
This building itself is really quite a feat of engineering.
Absolutely. This amazing span of concrete is only 8 inches thick, and it spans the space as large as Madison Square Garden. And it's supported on just 4 piers. So you see those 2 piers, the feet of the bird on one side and the back.
2 in the back. This is certainly an unusual assignment.
Yes, absolutely. It was very challenging and not something that comes across my desk often, to turn a plane into a cocktail lounge. And it came with many challenges, right? So the first time we saw the plane was in the January weather out near the airport, and it was just an exposed hull and none of this was in it. So we were looking to make sure that this felt like a 1962 plane, but we also really wanted to make sure that it felt like the hotel itself, and that we were really bringing in those strong design elements over to this side.
I think that that is something very special to this project, is that the level of detailing in many different spaces has been carried through so consistently. So how did you manage to do that with so many different design teams involved?
Well, you know, Beyer Blinder Bell, who were the lead architects, and then Incorporated, Inc., led by Adam Rolston. We had these weekly meetings where all of us would present together and really give one another feedback.
But this comes through in the result, right? Because this feels like a very organic project, where one would never think that so many different creative minds were involved.
Right, and I think that that's why the project is so successful. It's the fact that all of the designs are great, but also feel so consistent with each other.
You had to design in excess of 500 hotel rooms.
Yeah. And there are over 21 types as well. And so we really had to think about how those rooms interacted with the Saarinen building and also the planes taking off and landing. So a lot of our rooms actually have the bed facing the window so that one can really experience those things. We wanted to make sure that all the rooms felt luxurious and inviting.
And what was your specific inspiration for the choices that you made in terms of furniture and materials and colors?
The client hammered it into us that it was 1962, 1962, 1962. And that was an amazing year in the history of our country. And then, of course, the flight age was at its incredible boom. So we wanted to celebrate all those things and make sure that it felt like 1962, but that it also felt of today and very timeless. So we did really lovely white terrazzo flooring, walnut tambour, and then this really lovely brass color. And then, of course, when you first walk in the room, you're welcomed by this organic Saarinen womb chair with its bright red.
And I have to say the spaces feel of the time, but not nostalgic.
And who knew that there are people that really loved to watch planes take off and land? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. The TWA Hotel is the shining example for the power of collaboration and the wonderful things that happen when creative minds work together.
Why let the judges have all the fun? Which architectural project do you think should win? Vote for your favorite in the Kohler People's Choice Award. One entry will be chosen to win a Destination Kohler experience at the American Club, the Midwest's only 5-star, 5-diamond resort hotel. For more information and to cast your vote, go to newyorkbydesign.com or scan the QR code on the screen. Good luck.
Before we hear the judges' top picks from this episode, let's take a personal look at Danish architect Bjarke Engels and what inspires his designs. By Design first encountered Bjarke Engels' work on a trip to his homeland, Denmark, and the Lego headquarters. Internationally, Bjarke is viewed as one of the greatest architects of our time. His influence extends way beyond Denmark. So Bjarke, this is your first American baby.
My first very big American baby indeed. We called it a court scraper. So you can see it almost as a hybrid between the European courtyard that it has an oasis in the middle of the city, but it also has the verticality and the views of a skyscraper.
This is such an unusual shape. How did you come up with this shape and why?
Well, essentially we wanted to take advantage of the fact that we're overlooking the Hudson River. We have the sunset setting over the river. When the buildings are not very tall, the sun can actually come all the way into the courtyard. But when you create something with the density of a skyscraper, suddenly if we would build like 20 or 40 floors all the way around, no light would ever reach the bottom. And that's why we had to sort of create this extremely asymmetrical building. So it is still somehow late summer in the courtyard, even in the rest of the city, it's Christmas.
Bjarke, this courtyard is an urban oasis.
I think one of the things that I love about a courtyard is that it's communal, and that means that your children can leave their toys in the courtyard and they'll be there the next morning when you come back down. So it becomes almost like an extension of the social realm in the city.
You talk about sustainability not having to be a sacrifice, but also can enhance lifestyle. I feel that here.
That really means that the sustainable city or the sustainable building is not only the best thing for the environment, it's much better for the lives of the people living in it. So in that sense, sustainability is only going to win if it's a more desirable and more enjoyable alternative to the existing city.
Is that what you call hedonistic sustainability?
That is exactly what we call hedonistic sustainability. And I love the idea that to most ears, hedonism and sustainability sounds like mutually exclusive, but most often the most interesting ideas are the ones that really combine things that you would normally think cannot be together. And I think this is a perfect example that they can.
Tell me about the cladding here. What am I looking at?
Of course, the one really unusual thing about this building is that this one is a kind of warped surface. First, it needs to be maintained. So I think the window cleaners here have the coolest job, because you can see those rails are like roller coasters that can actually come down and roll onto the facade. And then you can see like all these little dots all over the facade. They are snow cleats, because of course when the snow falls, we can't have avalanches, so each of these cleats delay the snow so it actually sticks to the building. So when snow has just fallen, come in and check out the Via, because it looks gorgeous. The Danish word for design is actually formgivning, which literally means form giving. So in other words, to give form to that which has not yet been given form. So it means that as human beings, we have the power to give form to the world that we would like to find ourselves living in the future. In a way, all the things that we dream that the world was or the city had, we actually have the power to make those dreams come true. And that's the core of our job. Not just to make more of what's already here, but dream up what would be really amazing and then try to make that happen.
Bjarke says that good design is careful and bad design is careless. The thoughtful design that goes behind the Via building stretches our imagination of what a building is and should be. Time to find out which projects from this episode have been selected to go through to the best of the best final.
121 East 22nd Street definitely deserved to make it into the finals. It's so nice to be able to have an OMA building in the city.
All of the interiors are wonderful. And then this exterior building by Rem Koolhaas is just a one-of-a-kind building.
There is never a time that I have passed by without stopping and looking up and really appreciating it.
I'm really pleased that the TWA Airport has gone through to the final.
You know, it's an icon for all architects, Saarinen, and given a new lease of life, repurposed in a really successful way.
People are even going there on dates now. It's an unbelievable project, and it's open to the public, and anyone can go.
Congratulations to our finalists.